Well, good morning. It's great to see everyone. An overflow crowd. It's as if there's a lot of news happening or something. I don't know. I want to start this morning by addressing a few things we've heard this week from our Democrat colleagues. It's been pretty surprising. Here's a few quotes. Shut down the city. We are at war. We're going to fight it in the streets, it was said. This is what the beginning of a dictatorship looks like. This is their reaction to the flurry of activity that's come out of the new administration, and the president is doing exactly what he said on the campaign trail that he is going to do, would do. And he's delivering on that, and we're a big part of that, and we're going to do it as well. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party truly is seemingly lost. They have no rudder, they have no vision, they have no clear leader. The only message they have is anti-President Trump, and we've all seen that that's a failed strategy time after time. And it's not just rhetoric. I mean, this week, Democratic leadership sent a letter to their members that you all saw that the media characterized as a war plan to take on President Trump. In the letter, the Democrats laid out the foundation for a government shutdown. That's their plan, to stop President Trump. And the question we're all asking is, why do they want to stop him? Is it because President Trump is working to bring more oversight to USAID for its mismanaged spending? Is it because he's using the threat of tariffs to negotiate with trade partners and secure our borders? Is it because DOGE is looking at contracts and helping to carry out President Trump's promises of making government more efficient? By laying the foundation for a shutdown in the way that they are, the Democrats are changing their tune on government shutdowns. Remember, they're the ones that are apoplectic all the time about the terrible harm that it would exact on the country. But because President Trump is doing exactly what he said he would do, they've changed their tune. And I think you all should be asking them about that change of heart and the hypocrisy that is just on open display. When President Trump said he would unleash American energy dominance and reduce the size of the government and deport dangerous illegal aliens and make American communities safe again, he meant what he said, and that's what we're seeing. He made campaign promises, and now he's moving at a quick pace to deliver on them. What a concept. As I said in an interview yesterday morning, I think it was, that I think it's demonstrably true that President Trump has now done more for the American people in his first 2 weeks than his predecessor did in all 4 years. And that's going to continue. And in Congress, we're going to work, and we are working now, to codify that America First agenda through legislative action. You heard two examples of that here. What we'll be doing this week is continuing our efforts to protect American communities by voting on the Halt Fentanyl Act, which will permanently schedule fentanyl and all fentanyl-related substances as Schedule I narcotics. Why is that important? Because it empowers law enforcement to seize those deadly drugs and go after their producers and distributors and stop the flow. It is an unspeakable tragedy that has now gone on for over 4 years. We have more than 200 Americans lose their lives every single day on average to fentanyl. And it's a crisis that demands our immediate action, and that's what the president is doing, and that's what we're doing. The Halt Fentanyl Act builds on President Trump's efforts from earlier this week to secure our border, southern and northern borders, and keep illicit drugs out. And Republicans are taking decisive, strong, and immediate action to rid American communities of this poison. Elections have sometimes very positive consequences, and that's what you're seeing here. Meanwhile, we're also going to unleash American energy dominance. The Protecting American Energy Production Act is so important because President Biden and his administration clearly waged a war on American-made energy, particularly oil and gas producers, and we're going to make sure this doesn't happen again. So we pass this legislation, and no future administration will be able to put a halt on fracking, which produces so much of the energy in this country. It has to be protected. House Republicans are delivering on our promises, and there is a lot more to come. I'm sure you have a few questions this morning, so we'll do that. Let's start in front row.
Can you address this situation that President Trump is suggesting moving into Gaza? Is that an America First policy to send American soldiers into one of the most volatile regions in the world and then suggest that the U.S. take control of a region that it has no claim to?
Look, there'll be more details forthcoming on that, of course. The initial announcement yesterday, I think, was greeted by surprise by many, but cheered by, I think, people all around the world. Why? Because that area is so dangerous, and he's taking bold, decisive action to try to ensure the peace of that region. It's a bold move, certainly, far bolder than what's been done before, but I think we've got to stand unequivocally in an unwavering manner, as the whip said, with Israel, our closest ally and friend in the Middle East. And I think if we could control that situation and bring about a lasting peace there, it would do well for everybody, not just in the region, but around the world. It's a volatile place. And I think the strong and decisive move is an important step in that regard. As was noted earlier, Prime Minister Netanyahu being the first international leader to meet with the president in the White House is more than symbolism, but it is a symbol. And it shows the world that we're not going to equivocate. The previous administration did that. They tried to appease Iran and by extension its proxies, terrorists, and they frankly encumbered Israel in so many times. You're seeing a reversal of that now. That is very important development. I think our allies around the world appreciate that. I know because I've talked to lots of leaders around the world, and they've been very nervous about the instability there. I think this could be a bold step in that regard. So let's withhold judgment on all of it. You'll see more developments as they come. Back row, back row.
To your point about President Trump following through on his promises, another promise he's made was to dismantle the Department of Education. If he follows through with that by executive order, will the House then seek to codify it?
So here's the thing on the Federal Department of Ed. It's been a discussion point and a priority for our party for a long time. See, we believe in the core principle that education is best handled by the people closest to the kids. What does that mean? It means local school districts, local school boards. It means at the state level rather than the federal level. We think you empower parents when you do that. You give them more choice in that. So that's why we're advocates for school choice. That's why we're advocates for charter schools and innovative ideas. And I think you can return American education to a place of prominence and success if you allow those things to happen. The teachers' unions will viciously fight, of course, any idea of disbanding the Federal Department of Education. But I think the principle is one that is, the time has come. We've all seen the ratings. I mean, the U.S. is falling far behind other countries because the system is not working. So when President Trump ran for president and when we ran to hold the majority here, we assured the people that we would make big, bold decisions to change things. And I think that is an idea whose time has come. And again, you know, like everything else, we've got to wait for more details to be laid out. But you're going to see a lot of support among House and I think Senate Republicans for the general idea of pushing the decisions back down to the local level. I think that's something that would serve us all well. Front row.
I just want you to be clear, though. I know you said what the president said yesterday was bold and decisive, but yes or no, do you believe the U.S. should take control of Gaza? And is that a position you're going to reaffirm with the Prime Minister when he's here at the Capitol?
Well, I look forward to meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. There's a lot to discuss. I've been a very close ally of his, and to be frank, for the last 4 years, I think I was probably the highest-ranked member of the federal government who was unequivocally supporting Israel and the Prime Minister. So we'll have that discussion. I mean, he obviously has much more expertise on the issue than I do. But as I said earlier, we await further details on what exactly that looks like. This is a bold, decisive move, and I think you have to do something to eradicate the threat to Israel. Here's the problem. If you leave Gaza in its current form, there's always a risk of another October 7. There's always a risk of proxies of Iran, all these terrorist organizations, whose openly stated goal is to eliminate Israel as a state. So it just makes sense to make the neighborhood there safer. I think that's logical. I think it follows common sense. I think people understand the necessity of it. And we're going to stand with Israel as they work towards this goal. And we'll stand with the president on his initiative.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.